sponsors in. Campbell's Comments would like to thank all of its sponsors who contribute to what we do, including Woodland Stud, Barrastock Horse, team at Harasta Trotters and Yabby Dam Farms, as well as Nutrient Equine and Nutrient Equine Standardbreds, and also the team at NZB and NZB Standardbreds, plus so many more of our great sponsors. Thank you for everything you do. That's got to be it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Loose Lines, and by special request and demand, I have to do this one. Cam Bray joins me. Hello to you, Cameron.
That's the family cheering me through, isn't it?
It is indeed. You know, and you know well, truly, I have all these things, and there's the crickets. I've got that one ready for you when you don't make a lot of sense as well, mate. All right, so yeah. Welcome back to On Loose Lines, mate. Been a long time since you've been on.
You wait for the ratings to skyrocket tonight.
Well, I tell you, there's a bit of pressure because the show's been going pretty good. So if it's a fizzer, you're at all sorts, mate. It's back on. It's back onto you. So no, it won't be at all. Just try and get our audio levels a bit quieter. That'll be better for you then as well, mate. We've got a big show. We actually basically this show came about because of the first show back, and I open-ended it to people about ideas, I suppose, and what they wanted to talk about. And the grass tracks came up, and we had a fair bit of, I suppose, to and fro from a lot of people on the feed. And, you know, you guys in New Zealand have plenty of those. So the main crux of our show tonight is going to be about grass tracks, what they do, how they attract, how they work for you guys in New Zealand, because they work very differently. They'll work very differently for us guys here in Australia because of the TAB turnover collection, if you like, is different. And potentially what we could do with them here in Australia. We will also touch, though, on the weanling sales, and I'm just very, very quickly, it is on the 25th of May, which is a Thursday, which is only, well, it must be 2 weeks tomorrow, is it?
Yeah, it is, mate, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 weeks tomorrow, coming around very, very quickly. Everything's in order there for that?
Providing there's no more national states of emergency being declared in the meantime, I think we're okay.
Our poor friends in bloody Auckland, they've been copping it again a bit, haven't they?
Yeah, no, there's another. I think they might have just come out of it this afternoon, but yeah, they've just sort of had it end after end, really, poor buggers. So we get that out of the way, and we don't have any weather events. I think we're a chance of getting the sale off the ground, I reckon.
No, I think you'll have very little worries at all. Just got to try and work out which one's which here, Cam. I've got that one. So we got a couple of boys already on. You'd be surprised to know Tyler Dew got beat this week. Timmy's back from his fishing sojourn, if you like. I don't know why, but I can't get Timmy's to come down. I'll work that out in a second. But he says good evening to you too. So hello to Timmy and Jeffrey Dixon. Let's get it going. So I think Jeff's pretty keen to throw some comments in there as well. I want everyone to get involved and put some comments in there. But Cam, it is very different the way you guys do your grass track racing, I suppose, in New Zealand. But it's also, for mine, it's just amazing to witness firsthand. You are the president of Banks Peninsula. Is that the right way you say it?
Banks Peninsula, yep. So we run 6 meetings at the Moshkara Racecourse, which does have 7 meetings a year. So that does, the Akaroa Trotting Club do conduct a race meeting on that same course. Which gives us 7 there. So yeah, it's a pretty big part of my probably out of work life, I suppose you call it. But yeah, it's a very, very big thing here in New Zealand. The grass, it's probably one of the dare I say it, it's a real family sort of atmosphere. It's a great way of engaging families back into racing here in New Zealand. Just to do with a number of different reasons, but. We get huge fields, we get great nominations, we get great sponsorships. You know, we're pretty much a completely voluntary club too, which is a big part of the puzzle here in New Zealand. We race for reasonably modest stakes, and we're racing probably in the main pretty modest horses.
Yeah, and this is this is where what it does open up for harness racing, what you just said then about the horses, and that Jackie Gibson is on there, Cameron. So good to see Jack joining back in here. Love grass track racing, special days, and they are. And there is so many things I want to get around, I suppose, here. The one thing you just said then about, I suppose, giving a chance for some horses that potentially can't win on a racetrack. And it's one of those things I thought was a little bit exclusive to us here in Australia, thinking you guys over in New Zealand, some of your tracks. After being down Southland especially, these guys have got, there's a 1,500 metre track at Winton. Invercargill is nearly the smallest track, and it's 1,000 metres. They're tough tracks for horses to be able to win at and partake at, aren't they?
And you look around Canterbury, the biggest, to be fair, all-weather courses are reasonably large around the Canterbury area. So I can probably speak to pretty comfortably Canterbury. Once we get outside of that with the grass track, it's a little bit outside my wheelhouse. But, we are blessed with these great big race courses in New Zealand. And the grass, I think, just takes a little bit of speed out of them and does just make it a little bit easier on them too, just the tracks we race at, they're very, very well maintained. We're probably here in Canterbury now exclusive harness grass tracks. The gallopers have sort of basically finished at those courses, so we really have free rein on them, which is a positive because the galloping nature of the thoroughbred does actually cut the track up quite significantly, where the harness horse doesn't do the damage to the grass, as I say, what the thoroughbred would do.
You're not bad. You got heaps of things going here, which is unlike you to get me bamboozled and going. The type of horse that wins on a grass track, is there ever been a horse that relishes, if you like, a horse that has probably gone through undefeated in a season or something along those lines? Is there ever really a standout horse on the grass each year?
Oh, it probably is, to be fair. There probably is. You want to name names, you don't want to get them from me, but there is horses that do cop it very good. There's a lot of guys. One thing we have on the grass is we have a lot of sportsmen still play the game. There's a lot of guys that train one or two horses that just love the grass. From a sales perspective with Gavel House, we have a lot of guys that actually go out and buy horses at that time of year leading into it to race a horse through the grass. When you go to the races, you see the same people every week, which is great. And it's great that those horses still have a home here on the grass. And by the nature of it and just the nature of the population of the horse it caters to, you end up with reasonably tight rating bands. So it's very competitive racing, which is part of the secret to the success of it, is the fact that because you have tight rating bands, you don't seem to get the shorties, odds-on money favourites.
Yep.
So by and large, they're great betting revenue turnover races for us, which ultimately I know it's slightly different in Australia, but we sort of live now by our gross betting revenue or gross betting margin, and the grass goes to a way to really help with that.
We will get onto the turnover in a second, Cam. It's just what you just said there, though, is one of the key components. Keeping horses in New Zealand. Racing stock is one of those things that I'm very big on, especially after being down to New Zealand. And you talk to a lot of people are very passionate about keeping their mares. You need to keep your stock there full stop. I know last week, I think you went 5 days without a harness meeting. So we need to have more racing. And a little bit of that is, I would imagine, because the grass track circuit has closed down for the winter months. But the one thing that the grass track does do as well, massive field sizes, which just blow me away when you can have up to 18 horses running on a grass track race.
Yeah, I was just trying to say average field size here. So this is for the current season. The average field size for the grass currently sits at about 11.5 in comparison to 9 on the all-weather. But that's taking an average, obviously, throughout the country. So there will be, meetings that I know we've had. We're at capacity. The stabling's at capacity. You've almost got to, hunt the first race out of the boxes so that the last race can get us somewhere to tie the horse up, We huge nominations. So, average field size, it's a big piece of the puzzle, to be fair. And then you look at favourite to winners percentage ratio, it's almost, it's 10% lower on the grass in comparison to the all-weather. So you can see why they make money.
Yep.
We don't grass, by and large, you don't get the shorties anyway because of the nature of the racing. And then when you actually get in the favourite beat 10% more often on the grass than on the all-weather, it's actually quite financial for us.
So and betting turnover is one thing that is very, very, I suppose, exciting about this. Jeff Dixon's put a question in there, and I will get to it in a minute. Just for the Australians, mate, the betting turnover on these grass race meetings, have you got those figures there with you? I would have thought you would have.
Yeah, so average turnover is just under $1 million for grass in comparison to about 800,000 on average for the all-weather. Now, one thing you do have to take into consideration when you talk about that is the fact that the majority of the grass meetings are on a Sunday.
Yep.
And that is a big plus for the grass because you pretty much have free rein to it. There's limited thoroughbred opportunities here in New Zealand, and you're playing into probably one of the quieter days in Australia too. So that does, you're not really comparing apples with apples, but all the same, you are, what does come into effect is the fact that you have favourites getting beat, you're having big fields, and you're having any old thing running in a chance, you know?
Yeah, and that's the part that excites me. So you can get like, exactly what you just said, favourites beat, big fields, monster fields we could have a lot bigger than what we're having here in Australia at the minute, 10 and 11 horse fields, and great betting turnover. You said there before about a Sunday. For me, and I'm going to bounce this off you, but Sundays would be the ideal time we'd be trying this in Australia. I would have thought too, but we'll get to that in a minute as well because it's so friendly for so many other things. The upkeep camp. So Jeff Dixon's comment here about insurance would be the big thing to overcome. I think they go back to there was a bad fall at Moonee Valley, and that was sort of the stop of them because horses going over the crossings. One thing you guys don't have on most of your tracks is a crossing, so that part is a plus. But I think it was Geraldine the other day had a crossing.
I don't think Geraldine. We still have a crossing.
Yep.
Which can cause its issues. But as I was saying, we're lucky enough probably here in New Zealand now that the majority of our grass track, Mifflin doesn't have one obviously, don't think Geraldine has. We have one, but we sort of have improved it and actually going on ways to improve it even further now because of basically diminished need for the all-weather at home. So they keep better all the time, but that was generally because of the thoroughbred tracks you needed to have the crossing, which they're becoming less and less of an issue now.
Yeah, and then the part with the insurance, one, they don't go as quick. Two, they're racing on a much softer surface. I don't think the insurance would be a massive worry here for us in Australia. And the surface is so conducive for harness horses. It's actually so beneficial to them. And that's one of the reasons some of these older horses actually jump up and improve, if you like.
Yeah, and I think because of the nature of the tracks and the speed they're going, you don't slip like the gallopers do on the same surface because of, obviously they're pulling a cart in bits and pieces. You talk about times. Interestingly, when we get the right sort of conditions at home, we can break 2 minutes on the grass. So it is quite, when it's playing right, it's playing right. But in the same token, how ridiculous is this? We have Moch Carrara would be it would go close to being probably the race course in New Zealand with the lowest point to sea level. So it would actually probably be below sea level. And then you have Methven, which is probably one of the highest race courses in New Zealand. And we are working. So we only finished a month ago.
Yep.
They'll start skiing at Mount Hutt shortly at Methven. And same as us. We finished on Easter Monday, I think it was. And duck shooting weekend was last weekend. We're next to one of New Zealand's largest lakes that's used for duck shooting. So, look, we do push the boundaries significantly with these grass tracks as well, and they perform.
That has got me spinning a bit because of being in New Zealand. Those tracks would, be an hour and a half apart?
Yeah.
And one's below sea level, and one's the highest track you got in.
One could be, 400 or 500 metres above sea level. We wouldn't want to be quoted that, but it'd be something similar to that. Yeah.
Wow. Methven. The one thing I did notice at Methven, and I'm just trying to find. I don't think it was the 16th of April. I was there. It might have been, actually. It might have been that Sunday meeting. And I was just going to try and find Bluto because everyone was saying about how slow the track was. And I think they went, here we go, 2-1. 2-1 on a heavy track. These were 1-win 3-year-olds. It was just it's funny.
But it was a genuine heavy track that day.
Yeah, so they don't actually go as slow as what I'm saying, but it's just a little bit more controlled speed, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and probably I know at Mochkara we race over quite a bigger trip. You know, one good thing we do is you have these great handicap trots, sand start trots. They're great on the grass. Look, our prestigious race, the DG Jones Banks Peninsula Trotting Cup, is a handicap trot, and yeah, it makes for great racing.
Yeah, it does indeed, and yeah, I find the surface amazing. I loved Methven's surface that day, but there was a little bit of cry from the I suppose scribes, if you like, in New Zealand, what they were complaining about, basically saying that effectively the track was too slow, so be wary when you're punting. And I'm like, what's a grass track? For mine, you'd have to be wary when you punt. Full stop.
Well, that's probably the nature of the fact that people are so used to punting the all-weather that really the track doesn't come into it. Where ultimately it's no different back in the thoroughbreds. Some relish in those genuine mudlarks. Yeah, they'll just plough through it, and some don't probably cop it at all. But isn't that what we're about?
Yep, that's exactly right. So then the other part of this, what I want to say, we can talk about getting favourite speed or not, and bring stands back and not, and I think they should if they have grass track racing and. The biggest thing that I found, Cam, when I went to Banks Peninsula, that was actually Akaroa Day. That was on a Saturday, and people said the crowd was down, yet the crowd was terrific. There was actually a bloke in a mankini, if you remember correctly, on that.
Wasn't me, obviously.
Hey.
No, I wasn't there that day. You went on your lonesome that day.
That was a bucks buddy. But then we went to Methven the other day, the home of Nigel Armstrong and Richard Bromley and so many other people that so tirelessly worked there. And the crowd was just outstanding, wasn't it? Like, it was just breathtaking to see so many people there enjoying such a beautiful crowd, a big, beautiful day of racing in their camper vans, camping, push bike riding, picnics, the whole box and dice.
And look, what's the length of that straight there at Methven? About 500 odd metres?
Don't know.
And they were lined the fence, and I think I showed you the photo we have in our club rooms I think they were around at like the 850. They were lined the fence from the winning post to the 850. And this is the sort of crowd. We get huge crowds. We had massive, particularly on our race meeting on the 29th of December. It basically keeps our place going, keeps the lights on for 12 months of the year. We get a humongous crowd to that, really good crowds. So,
and when you say big crowds, Cam, how many people?
Oh, Jesus Christ, now you're putting pressure on me. I'd say somewhere between 5,000 to 8,000 people.
Yep. Yeah. How many would have been at Methven, you reckon, the other day? Between 1 and 2? Maybe 1?
Oh, had to have been. Yeah, 2. Easy, I'd say.
Yeah.
You look at all these different things you have there. So, it's not only you just go into the track and you pull up and you have your picnic, that's all good as gold. But out the back you have the pubs that bring the buses full of people when they're having a social club outing. You've got the camper van crew there doing their thing, like they did at Methven that day. And we're much the same, to be fair.
Yep.
We would, on that big day of the bigger days of ours, we would get anywhere between 4 or 5 busloads of people come out for different functions,
Yeah, and this is the thing that I want to sort of try and say to the Aussies, and the Aussies need to probably start to embrace, is that there is an option then for people to drive, camp, and stay. Kaikoura, people go there and stay. A lot of the trainers and drivers do. I don't know if they do these grass meetings, but they still just get massive crowds. Even
not so much the trainers, but we get a lot of patrons that'll come and camp the night before, and probably most of them need to camp the night after for various reasons.
Just to be safe, just to be safe, and make sure they get home properly. I've actually found where you find all these tracks, but now I've just got to find Methven to see how big the stage is. So, Cam, why can't they work in Australia?
Well, I'm not in the administration in Australia, so I can't really answer that question. I think it's definitely worth considering for you. It's been historically been a great thing in New Zealand for a long, long time. And I think I might have said to you one other time about checking out a page. We don't want to steer people away from Campbell's comments, but there is a page here in New Zealand called Harness. And you literally have to go back 3 or 4 months. You'll see a documentary they posted, the guys there, posted about Moch Carrara back in the probably early 70s. Now, that was in the halcyon days of racing here in New Zealand. And like they were getting over 100 nominations for the maiden race on the card way back then. So, look, it's been pretty ingrained in the racing psyche here in New Zealand for a long time. But again, it's a fantastic way of keeping sportsmen in the game that generally want to race their horses, that have a lot of fun doing it, you know?
Yep. And
it's a great, like West Coast of New Zealand, you haven't done that circuit yet, but that is another real marquee thing here in New Zealand is they go over there for a little wee circuit. Like they do, they go to Nelson as well in Blenheim. But they stay away, they race their horses over, 3 or 4 days. Now that's something that surely you could manage something like that.
Well, it gets back to Adam Hamilton and the other day saying about coming home from Warrnambool and what can harness racing do. And I get frustrated because a lot of the stuff they say, one of the suggestions is to take the Breeders' Ground back to Bendigo. The Breeders' Ground used to be at Bendigo. They decided they could make it bigger and better. They take it away. We destroy history and all of the likes. We can't make history overnight. We can't make Warrnambool overnight. But we could create something new that's actually not new because our closest neighbours have it.
Done before, mate.
Hey?
Warrnambool's been done before.
Yeah.
What you need is something uniquely harness.
Yep. Yeah, but we can do it. We can do it differently too, and do it. But I just think these grass tracks and what they offer potentially is enormous. And I think a lot of Australians once they go to New Zealand and see it. I've got the Methven track up, but I can't find how long the straight is. I'm giving up on that.
Mickey Mouse is on there. Mickey Mouse, comment how big the straight is because Michael knows most things. Very knowledgeable man, Michael.
He is indeed.
He will comment. You just wait.
Yeah, he will know. It's a wonder that's all he's going to say. But anyway, that's fine. He will be there.
But, you've already got the blueprint to it in Australia, Paul, with the success of the picnic racing over there with the thoroughbreds.
Yep.
You got to take it to the far out reaches of the Connolly. Here he is. He's commenting now, so he'll tell us. I can't see it, but I see it pop up.
Well, it hasn't come up on my feed yet, unfortunately, Cam. So Matthew Cooper actually said here that they have grass meetings every year in Tassie at St Mary's, but the problem is we only have the one. And Tassie's that other place. It's a destination place for backpackers and the likes. Unfortunately, Cam, I can't see that comment of Michael House's come up. I'm wondering if my comments aren't coming up for some reason. Not sure why.
Text me it, Michael, then I'll know. Text me it.
Make you look good. You reckon?
Doesn't matter. It's about 500 or 600 metres, I think, from memory. But again, what I'm trying to point out is you've almost got 1,800 to 800 to 1,000 metres of fence line of a race course full of people.
Yep, that's right.
The person sitting at the 800, having his wee barbecue and a few cans of beer, he don't get to see much racing, but he's loving it. He's having the time of his life.
I'll mate with the Mankini. I can guarantee you, he saw nothing. He saw nothing that day, yet he had a ball. And guess what? Because the tracks are so spread out. Because how long's your straight?
I reckon we're about 600 or 700.
Yeah, and he was 3 quarters away down there, so he didn't annoy anyone. He just stayed down there and kept to himself.
Yeah. So no, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
No, it is. It is indeed, and I just can see tracks like Horsham that already have those tracks there. Like I said last week, HRV have tried it 3 times at Yarra Valley, and each time they've been washed out. Tracks like Horsham, there's so many tracks like that. But then there's also these thoroughbred tracks. When I was talking to Daniel, the Donalds, and so many others that people go, grey nomads go and can enjoy themselves. It's good on the horses. It's good for beating turnover because people won't know what to do. And you might find a horse that can't win on a synthetic track, as you say, or an all-weather track that can overcome the grass and bolt in.
Look, it probably means, and Mike will be able to shed more light on this than me, but you'll probably find you get more runs out of a horse too at that age and that class of horse. You'll get more runs out of them by racing them on the grass too a bit, providing you don't get a bold track like poor old bloody Geraldine got the other week. But like it under normal circumstances, it's just nice and easy on them,
Yep.
And there's been a number of good trainers have started some nice horses on the grass. You look at the likes of, we've had Lyle Creek won 2 of our going back over the journey. Lyle Creek won a couple of Bankswood Trotting Cups. There's been some great horses come through the grass. So just do it as a nice educational thing.
Yep, absolutely. There is indeed. I don't know about Michael. If he's on there, he's not getting involved. That's for sure. He's going backwards. But anyway, Cam, I appreciate you giving a bit of light into it. We haven't had too many people fire comments, and we've got plenty of people watching and going from there. But we definitely want to stir it up a little bit. I think the industry. I spoke to a participant the other day, and it's basically Groundhog Day. It doesn't matter where we go at the minute, it's just racing. I know my Kiwi friends say, it's great how often you guys get to race, but I tell you what, I watched New Zealand racing. You guys get 4 days off, and I think it's just got to be so good for everyone involved, that part of it as well. So there's definitely 2 sides to it, that's for sure.
My only advice to you, Paul, is take it to the districts. Get it out further.
Yeah. Yep.
Re-engage a community that's been lost to harness, so to speak. Re-engage them. Try and bring them back in. Get the families along. Get the kids along. I think you've been to our joint. For one thing that we pride ourselves on is putting on at every one of our race meetings some entertainment for the kids. So you have the bouncy castles, the bloody pony rides, the what they call that thing, they put a fillet full of water, you climb in the bloody balls and smash into each other, all that sort of stuff, face painting, the whole 9 yards, We pride ourselves on that, on every race day, to have something for the kids, because ultimately, if the kids are annoying dad, he can't be punting. So we want the kids to be well and truly engaged.
Yep, the ladies get to dress up, drink wine, sit on the grass and have a picnic and enjoy themselves. Dad can duck off, have a bet, come back and sit on the picnic and not get himself in the bad books, Cam, or as much in the bad books.
Very true, but it's all part of it too, and that's where you talk to a lot of people that have come through the New Zealand grass scene, or people you see, at race meetings later in life that have completely drifted away from harness racing, and 90% of them will remember going as a child to the races with dad and the esky full of grog and a picnic. And I think you'll find that we've lost a generation of people here in New Zealand that because that was once upon a time pretty much most race courses, and now it's really only a handful left here in New Zealand. Yep.
No, we used to have picnic meetings, but we don't have those anymore. We just have everything's on Sky, and it's betting turnover, and it's just goes round and round. It's a vicious circle sometimes, so can be a bit tricky. Cam, unless someone else comes in with some questions, the other one we want to promote though, mate, is the weanling sale that is coming up on May 25. As I said, it's a Thursday night at Karaka, or Thursday, sorry. What time does it start? 12 o'clock New Zealand time?
Lunchtime, I think.
12 p.m. New Zealand time. Yep, it does indeed. Yes. 129 lots. That's it. Hey?
123.
Right. I'm sure I read 129, but that's okay. 123 lots. Still massive number for weanlings in New Zealand.
Yeah, no, it's good, really. We've represented pretty heavily by the 2 main studs in Auckland, obviously Woodlands and Alabar, which it's a huge part of what they do. But we're really happy and pleased to be able to have Macca Lodge come all the way from Southland over about a 3.5-4 day journey they'll take to get to Karaka. And also another new weanling sale vendor in Tardina, who are a good yearling sale client of ours.
Yep.
And they've decided to sort of spread a wee bit of risk, spread a bit of the workload of bits and pieces by just, offering 6 or so weanlings as well at that time. So, we're really, really happy. I think we've got 22 stallions represented. There's 3 new season sires that are represented too, with the Stormman side Elite Stride, and the other is
Better Wish.
Better's Wish.
Yep.
Sorry, it's one of them.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew there was
Better's
one.
Wish. Yeah.
So but we've got Better's Delight, Art Majors. We've got the whole 9 yards there. So really great offering, And I've seen 95% of them, Paul, and I would say they're as good as I've seen them.
Yep. I think I actually love it. I keep telling people they need to go to the weanling sales. One, to buy horses for you guys, for NZB, that's what we do want, but also just to, I suppose, appreciate what New Zealand sales are about. Your yearling sales are full on, and rightfully so, because people are there trying to get as good a money as they can. You basically pack up from one sale, go to the next sale, and it is sale, sale, sale. This one's a little bit of a different feel. There's not that rush for people to get to the next sale. There's also the time that they go and look at the horses and then they walk away and they sit down and have a beer before the sale starts. Has a magic feel to it, doesn't it, Cam?
Yeah, no, it's a bit more casual too, because we don't have a sort of an official parade for this sale. It's sort of more stable. We call them stable side parades. So the vendors themselves do them, just handy to their own stalls, which is quite cool. It's something that we don't do for any other sales. So it's a really good opportunity, and because we've now tied it back in with the Auckland Cup Carnival, it's sort of become a bit of a couple of 3 days away sort of thing. We get a lot of guys from Christchurch and even now Australians that are coming over, but they come up for those 2 or 3 days. They come to the sale. They come into the open day we have, obviously, and just catch up with people. Sale, and then obviously go to the races then on the Friday. So it's actually worked into to be a really cool event.
Yeah, no, it has, but it's got a good feel. And you can stay at the complex. Barb Sedgwick, Nellie Melba on Facebook, but she's on my YouTube page here, Cam. She wants to know, this is going to throw you under the bus. I was trying to help you out here a little bit for a minute if I could. What's the percentage of trotters to pacers in the sale?
Next question.
There's 4 Majestic Sons. I'm just trying to work through them very, very quickly. It'd be about a third, maybe 5.
Yeah, it might be a third. Historically, never been huge numbers of trotters, but there'd be probably a third. There's a number of What the Hills. There's a number of Elite Strides, as we've said. What else we got? We've got Majestic Sons. We've got On Solitaires, a couple of those. And I think that's the Trotting Stallions.
Yeah. Well, there's
Speeding Spur, sorry.
One
Speeding Spur.
Yeah, one Speeding Spur as well. So, yeah. So, anyway, so there's a good number of them.
We've never really had huge numbers of trotters like that.
No. And the one thing that blows my mind away, Cam, and I think a lot of people need to sit up and start having a look at this. Graduates of the relatively new sale are highlighted by Altor Meteor, Sinbad, and My Ultimate Baxter. And they are classic winning horses. But the amount of horses that actually win out of this sale is just ridiculous, isn't it? These horses are won black type races. That's why they get the mention here. But you've got graduates winning all the time.
Yeah, it's probably when you're working on a percentage basis, a very, very high percentage. And then we even look back to previous to NZB when it was under PGG rights and obviously in an all-age sale format. That sale's produced Copy That, My Hard Copy, Majestioso, Better Zip It. The list goes on. Like, it's quite mind-boggling how many good horses have come out of the sale at relatively modest pricing. Better Zip It was sold for $1,500.
Yep.
What was Copy That? He was literally like
7.5.
He was 7.5. Majestioso was $6,000.
Yep. And then My Hard Copy was 4. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's value. There's a lot of value.
Yep. And like the average last year was what, 14,000.
14,000. It's certainly increased a little bit. To be fair, it has become more of a thing because it's also changed over the last few years from actually being what was once upon a time under the all-age moniker, something that was more of it was almost a clearance type scenario where people were going there just to sell, to sort of move horses on, where now it's actually people are targeting the sale to buy and to sell at. Because it's a real thing now. We've got pin hookers that are buying to either to take through the yearling sales or take through to then race and sell.
Yep.
It's a proper sale. It's a genuine sale.
No, it is indeed. And I was just trying to have a look up. One of the horses that I do know is our mate Menko. He's a horse down by the seaside that Shane Sanderson and the team own there. But, well, he's won his last 4 here. He won a 2-year-old first up, and then he's won 4 straight. And he was a Woodlands graduate, but but he's just a horse on the up. Now, I don't think they paid a fortune for him. You can actually look it up. The one thing I will say about your website and that, it is amazing that you could look those horses up and get the results pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, all horses purchased at a sale too, just to make mention, are Harness Million eligible too, so you can pay up for the Harness Million, which I think Sinbad contest. He went close, I reckon, was in the field at least anyway. So, you're eligible for that big money race, the Harness Million races, obviously. So, it's all good.
No, definitely. And there was one other horse. Right. Okay, Cam, we've had plenty of comments and people are now coming in, and it has updated. I apologise for that, but they weren't coming through. So we've got quite a few, comments to get back.
How many for Mickey?
We'll go back there. So Mickey's first thing was, what did I miss? But that's okay, right?
150 metres. The text has come through, 450 metres.
I apologise for that, but it wasn't updating. But we've got it now. Could you imagine, this is Jeffrey Dixon, could you imagine the crowd we could get at Hanging Rock or Donald on a Sunday? And that's exactly right. Hanging Rock is one of those places, Cam, take it to the people. Kyneton, I keep saying Kyneton's one of the most picturesque tracks there is.
Beautiful race course, yeah.
Yep, Hanging Rock has so much history. It's got a massive car park, a lot of fun, so he's spot on there. Michael House, great thing about grass track racing is you pass 10 horses in the straight and finish 8th. And love it. He can always come up with a good one, that's for sure. His answer back to how long's the Methven straight, he says shorter than it used to be because they did sell off a little bit of it, but it's still a massive, it is a massive one to do that. We need a group of enthusiasts to form a group to approach HRA and send them out to speak to Kilcoy in Queensland on how they run such a successful harness day. Jeffrey, you're right, but we could also ask our nearest neighbours. They know how they're doing it and they're doing a great job. So, that's one of the things I keep getting back to. 450, Michael's here. Okay, Katie Evans has put in there Bordar. So I would imagine, so Katie is over in Wales. So they might have a grass track racing over there as well. You silly buggers need to spend...
You remember the name?
Yep, thank you, Cameron. Silly bugger, you need to spend some time 7 fence at Methven. Oh, in other words, that's no good, I gather. From there, Emily Morgan, Zorb. What would that mean? Zorb. Emily Morgan's from Harness Racing New Zealand. She may have typed in on the wrong one. She might be in all sorts. Mate, we've had plenty of people getting in here, which is good, and I apologise, but we're getting to them all. Now, Tammy Giles. So this one here, Cam, is one that actually makes a lot of sense. I'll get into trouble because Stawell and Ararat are very good clubs. They're tight tracks. They race basically the same. They're almost exactly the same sorts of tracks. Great Western is smack in the middle of both of them. Those two clubs could take 1 or 2 of their meetings a year and put on the grass track at Great Western and would have a whole different horse population, people population, and could really grow something, and they'd be able to work it in together as a community.
Well, that's what I've said to you before. All you got to do is have someone brave enough to do it and give it a go. I think you could run a pilot quite easily, and you just got to do a bit of due diligence prior to, and I think you'll find it's very easy.
Michael House, road rules won't allow kids to drive a drunk dad home anymore. we did invite him in the show, but it didn't work.
That probably happened quite considerably over the years, I would suggest.
It does throw a mean party. Don't worry about that. Cody Charles from West Australia. My parents, Kevin and Annette, are heading over to the weanling sales. So we're getting onto the weanling sales. So, Codes, I'll make sure they look us up and we'll catch up with them. I know quite a few. There's a couple more Aussies going across, Cam.
Good. That's good.
Blanche Pool, we need to have a proper weanling sale here in Oz as well. They have been tried a couple of times, but they are tricky to get up and going, Blanche. But I do know Bardo is interested. American Dealer, $7,500 purchase. That was the other one. So Timmy White is not asleep.
Yeah.
He has got his feet going.
I can't believe he sold that horse. Why would he sell the horse like that?
The Zorb is the water thing that you were talking about. See, I knew Emily wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It's called a Zorb. Yep.
Yeah.
We can get Cam to help. What insight he would help us, and what an insight he would help us with. Well, he's the international yearling sales buddy. What are you? The Trans-Tasman yearling sale auctioneer? Is that what you call yourself, or you got some other name on your Instagram post anyway?
It's international bloodstock auctioneer.
That's what it is. Yep, which means whatever. First grass racing this Sunday for us. So they must race a bit on the grass in Wales by the looks. Tregonera trotting. Deborah means good morning. Oh, now we're getting Welsh lessons, mate. We're getting everything on. Come on loose lines, and you can learn everything. And I remember who you are. Did you hear about Katie and the molasses bucket, Cam?
Yeah. I've seen all that.
Tragic circumstances. You may have fell in there. So please now start firing your questions in as well, because we are.
That's a good story, Paul. You want to elaborate on that story? How we come to meet those people?
Well, this comes to camping. Admittedly, this is not a grass track, but basically we're at Kaikoura, where pretty good
sort of camping. I'll give you the tip there, mate.
Well, actually, that's right. We didn't camp, did we? Yeah, we didn't rough it, but that's okay. But effectively, they were at Kaikoura and they were on their honeymoon. But because so many people get there, and then they not in a hurry to go home. So Katie and Mike stayed the night and just happened to be at the same restaurant that we were dining at. So yeah, so I was a bloke with the camera and the microphone, and you were the bag carrier.
Boy, you're that Aussie bloke who's on the telly, aren't you? I think she said from across the road.
But this is the thing,
and she's on to us every day since.
But Cam, it's one of the things that people stay. You know, like the trots at Geelong tonight. I'm tipping the people in the first were gone before the second, and things along those lines. Whereas when it's grass track racing on a Sunday afternoon, you can go and sit down on the grass and enjoy people's companies and catch up with people. That's what grass track racing brings, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and here in New Zealand, the way it works out is quite often we'll end up being 30 minutes or 35 minutes. And actually, back to me one day, there were 45 minutes between races. But the rule of thumb of the 30 minutes is they can get 2 dog races in between our harness races. So, which is actually, the only thing I'd say is you have 12 races because we have enough, generally can have enough for 11 or 12 at half an hour apart. It makes a long day, but everyone loves it. They love it.
Well, people stay though. That's the thing. I mean, it is a long day, but they actually go there and they stay for the whole time as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do. Well, after a certain amount of races, you can't drive anyway, so you're buggered. You're stuck there. Yeah,
for some reason my comments aren't refreshing. David Lawrence Shaw, who's a great contributor to Campbell's comments, but Cowra Harness Racing Track in New South Wales is situated inside the grass gallops track. So there's the opportunity to have mixed surface meetings. You guys don't do that, Cam? You don't have a mixed surface? Like generally it's just grass?
Oh, yeah, we still do it. Yeah, we still do. There's the odd course where they'll have sort of 2 or 3 races, harness races before the gallops on the grass. We don't generally have those dual code meetings like we used to nowadays so much. But we actually have a few meetings where they'll run 3 or 4 grass harness races and then the gallopers will start after.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing because you say about the wear and tear on the track. The harness horses don't chop it up. The thoroughbreds do.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because the galloping, they get into it a bit more,
Nellie Melba here on my YouTube page, and anyone watching on YouTube who wants to fire it in. Mark Hughes has not commented yet. He's on his way to Ireland, but I think he's looking for Bruce.
Even the Qantas Club, he's sipping champagne at the Qantas Club.
No, he's going to Bruce Springsteen, but anyway, he's going to buy another one of those horrible jackets. But Barb Sedgwick, there's imagine getting to all the Great Western wineries involved. That's what we're trying to say. They're not going to get involved at Stawell or Ararat simply because they're not Great Western. But when something's happening at Great Western, you've got this opportunity to get in different people, haven't you?
We're surprised how it will come to it pretty quick. If you just got to put a mark on the ground and say, right, let's get into it.
Yep, and try something different. And that's the one thing, like I understand what Adam was saying. I think don't worry about the Breeders' Crown. It's done and dusted. It's changed. They made it harder for you guys to come across. And they made it trickier for horses to, don't like that one. Sorry, Cam, we've got to get out of that. Just trying to get this thing to keep refreshing. But no, it was a close-up of your noggin, mate. We didn't need that. We definitely didn't need that. That was for sure.
But hey, look, you watch the ratings go through the roof, son.
Yep. Yeah. Now it is, I apologise, it's not updating, so I've just got to keep doing this. So keep firing your questions through and we will get to them. Emily Morgan from Harness Racing New Zealand. Ashburton, Timaru, Invercargill, dual code tracks, Ataka and Kapitai race dual code.
Yeah.
Meetings, dual code meetings as well. Oh, rightio. So those two tracks will race. Sorry, I've got that. People can't actually read what she wrote there, but yeah, so they can't get to that. And then this next one, which now it won't move. I'm having a bit of issues. Rightio. Jeffrey Dixon. I back more winners on the New Zealand grass tracks in big fields than 6 and 7 horse fields we're getting here in Victoria at the moment. Don't go on form, back a trainer, back a driver. And that's pretty good formula, but I reckon he would also get some pretty good value there with that, Cam.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like our place, Mark McNamara, if you remember Mark Mac, the commentator, he used to call Montclair the Bermuda Triangle because they literally would come from anywhere, to be fair. It wasn't, from what I understand, it wasn't much of a galloping track because the home turn's quite sharp. You'd be on the rail, and then by the time you realise you're around the corner, you're on the outside fence. The harness horses seem to get round it a lot better than the gallopers do, just the speed they're going. But it's a great look when they're coming 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide down the straight for 400 or 500 metres.
I don't know why I refreshed that. Emily wrote perfect New Zealand names. I reckon he's having a crack at the way I talk. Would that be right? Michael House?
Well, you're a butcher, aren't you? By trade, aren't you?
I need to get across there. Michael needs to feed me again one night. One of the best parties you can go to, I reckon, Cam.
You went there for the tucker. I'll give you the tip from the photos also.
No, it's all good. All right, mate. Thank you. With the weanling sales, I said they're on the Thursday. I'm going to be over there. Don't know if I'll do on loose lines or not. It's a little bit tricky from time to time to do those shows, but we'll catch up anyway. We'll bring plenty of live coverage. If anyone's watching it though, mate, and would like to find out more about any of the weanlings in the sales,
you just get in touch, basically. Go through NZB Standardbred website. Anything you need to know will be there. Registrations for online, photos, videos. I know Woodlands were doing some today. I think unfortunate for them that there's not many fine days up there. I spoke to Graham Henley. I think they said they had a day or two of fine weather, and that's when they decided to video everything. Yep. And thank Christ they did, because they haven't hardly had a nice day since. But if any Australians are coming out to Karaka, please do get in touch with me, because we can sort of build a bit of something in it for you. You know, we can go and see some farms. I know that you and I will take a couple of discerning punters around with us to a number of places. I'm
on these road trips.
Well, I need someone else to drive the other car, so I've got you to need someone that knows where they are. Roughly.
All right. I'm not sure how my... Yep, that'll be fine. Right. Very good. You're not bad, are you? I can see the boys. Fitting in the back of the Hyundai. 3 of them.
Yeah, that'd be good for them. We've got some beautiful farms. One thing we do have handy to Karaka. It's a lovely part of the world. You're literally a stone's throw from the Waikato, which is a beautiful part of the country, as you could probably vouch for, Paul.
Yeah.
And we are blessed with some lovely farms. So if anyone does want to come out and have a wee look around how we do things, reach out, and we'll more than happy to try and get you in touch with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice Woodlands maybe doing their walk-up videos in a shed. I saw one of the Instagram posts. I think it's indoors. It's got to that extent. Cam, you can't go just yet. Chrissy Sharp wants to know, and the answer to this is yes, but is it both trotters and pacers race on the grass with the gallops when dual code meetings on the same day? Sorry, I don't know the answer to that. So
I suggest so. I don't know that for a fact, but I would like to think so, yeah.
Yep, okay. Emily Morgan, a few typos. That's okay. I've butchered the language. Michael House is back in there. Cam on Bell Road trips. I don't want to know what that is, do we, Cam?
I don't know what he's talking about
there. Tammy Giles.
Seriously, I don't know what the hell Bell Road's all about.
Don't trust me. There's a lot of people who don't know what Michael House is on about, that's for sure. Tammy Giles, winery.
Michael House, Bell Road doesn't ring a bell.
Let me get this out. Winery from Tammy Giles. Winery, food trucks, pony trots, pony rides, etc. Like an old town show, band and fireworks at night, and camping facilities. Only thing I'll say to that, Tammy, is I don't know if fireworks and Great Western is necessarily the right thing, because they did have a nasty fire there a few years ago, Cam, if you remember. Few cars.
The gallops on that.
Yeah.
When the gallops, they put the bloody straw down on the stop the dust or something.
Stop the dust, but they didn't realise that Mercedes sat a bit low and their exhaust get a bit hot. It was not.
Well, see, look, you talk about pony trots. So they're a huge part of what we do, because we have the half an hour between races. The pony trotters, they go mad. They get into it.
Kids carts. Kids carts?
Kids carts. Yeah,
kids carts. Yeah,
kids
yep.
carts.
Yep, and done very, very well, that's for sure. I'll go for another refresher. It's for some reason, it's just my feed doesn't want to refresh. So before I let you go, Cameron, because you know what'll happen.
Oh, you know what Michael was saying? It's Cam and Campbell road trips.
Oh,
yeah, you can see that. That's the sort of thing that end up on 60 Minutes or something, wouldn't it?
Cam and Bell. So we're going to name the bus trip Cam and Bell. He's good. He's switched on tonight, the old Michael. There's no, shouldn't call him old either. He does a good job, Michael. There's no hassles there. He might have a winner for us for the week. I don't know. Cam, I don't have a lot else, but I do appreciate you giving me some time, mate. It's been a pretty tough week for you guys, so I do definitely appreciate it. And it's been a very controlled, if you like, on loose lines. I do have, actually, you'll like this, Cam. Did go to pacing for pink, and I know you guys in New Zealand are getting to it, but did go to pacing for pink the other day, and it was a great day. Donna Castles and all the guys there are doing a huge job with the making awareness for breast cancer at Shepparton, and for the whole.
Put them back on. You look better with them on, I reckon.
The whole month of May. I don't know how James is going at the minute. He's looking at everything with the NZB, and he's got some dude with pink glasses on, but he'll get over that. It's they're actually not too bad. The light in front of me, that actually helps, and the reflection off your noggin, it's sort of a double whammy. But yeah, no, and it is doing a huge job over there. Back every other horse in the race if I'm in it. That's how good Housey's going. Rightio. So
Timmy White's having a crack here. You can
hang on. Capati and I don't know that other name either. Both had five.
You have a go, and then I'll correct you.
We're a rapper.
Wire rapper, yeah.
That wasn't too bad. 5 pace and 1 trot race this year. So there you are. Followed by a gallops meeting. Emily, how many horses in the gallops meeting? That will be the how many gallops races? Sorry, very interesting. After that,
they normally somewhere between 8 and 9.
That for the shine off the melon. He chimed in.
He's having a go, isn't he?
Hey, he didn't miss it. He didn't miss it at all. Donna Castles, Shannon O'Sullivan. She's been over there wearing the pink pants in New Zealand. I think the stars for me though, not for Shannon, but which is good. And to raise awareness for breast cancer. Emily Morgan, I've got to hold the caller. It's a bit slow over there with you Kiwis. Do you have internet over there, Cam?
Just the old dial-up one,
Yeah, that very, very funny noise. That's one of your better jokes, Cam. Keep forgetting about those buttons. There's got to be a drum. There have to be a drum rift. There it is. Got it. I found it.
Yeah,
so now our things are up. upping or I don't know, not sure why it won't update, but anyway, because yours is updating, Cam, I gather, at your end anyway.
Yeah, I can settle. It's all happening. You're up to date.
All right, very good. All right, mate, well, I'll let you go. I do appreciate it.
Right.
Millie will be wondering where you are, but that's okay. She'll remember when you get back in.
She's still awake now. We've got bigger problems, to be fair.
Oh no, you'll come back, you'll ring me back. I want to get back on the show. That's what you'll be saying. Cam, thank you as always. Good to have you back on, mate. You haven't been on for a while, so it's actually good. Thank you very much to everyone who's contributed. I do apologise for not being able to update that. I'm not sure exactly why that happened, but thankfully we rectified it and worked out.
You're in New Zealand for the Wednesday night, aren't you? Tuesday
as well. I'll be there Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say we could do a Loose Lines live from Karaka.
I know, but I've got to take all the stuff. That's the hardest part. But anyway, we'll work it out. We could have the Johnson boys. We could have, it could be carnage. It could be absolute carnage, that's for sure. So anyway.
Like American Idol.
Oh, hang on. They've all got back now. Before I go, what a great day pacing for Pink was. Jeffrey's obviously checking out. A huge congratulations to all involved. I absolutely agree.
Emily's got you this time. Have a go at this one.
Taraniki.
Taraniki.
Gemma Smallman's come in, I call shotgun. You don't reckon Gemma doesn't want to sit in the middle of the back seat?
They don't need to bring a gun. The whole friend's here.
Oh, shotgun means sitting in the passenger seat over here. I don't know what it means in New Zealand, but that's what it means here in Australia. So she's calling shotgun.
Bring a gun. There you go.
Hey?
You threaten to use a gun.
No.
She's
she's not that keen on jumping in the back either. And going from there, Paul Yeresberg, pretty sure Michael House on the red wine. No, I don't think he is yet. Paul. You just leave him alone. Don't poke the bear just yet. He's been okay. I've seen his texts when he's on the red wine, and they are random. That is for sure.
They're random, but they still make sense. They're random, but they still make sense. When they're random and they don't make any sense at all, you know he's been at the red.
Yep, absolutely, or whatever else. And he's a mean dancer too, so don't worry about that. But yeah. Anyway, Facebook.
Oh, this time, Michael, he's under control. He said he's not on it this time.
Nah, and all jokes aside, Michael and Emily, everyone that has contributed to the show and always contributed to the show, I really do appreciate it. And it is one of those things, I think there's a lot of negativity out there in the world, especially in harness racing. We seem to thrive on it, but I reckon well done to you guys for what you do over there with the grass track racing, Cam. I think it's something we need to probably look at and embrace. It's not new because we used to do it. We just got to get back and do it properly, and it could definitely work.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can't see why I couldn't. It was very, very well here, and you know, we're really proud of the work that, you know, the guys at our club and all these other clubs do, because it's all voluntary. So it's really a big shout out to them too, to be fair. They're the ones that make it happen.
Oh, yeah. And look, it's very quickly, it's probably a bit late now, but Methan, what they did with the Three Wise Men, you know, like it was just the sponsors done it. They got Tony Hurley over there, Maurice McKendry, and his name, Ricky May. Ricky May, yeah, well, is he on the committee?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ricky May, but Three Wise Men, I reckon, talk about concepts. Here's one for people to think about. So instead of having invitational drivers races, they actually got these three guys, they got them a drive in every race. Then they turned around and they put the other drivers, so a junior driver could be having their first drive in a race and gets to drive against the three most winningest drivers ever in New Zealand. You know, I think that concept is brilliant, and well done to the club and everyone else who got behind that and you know, helped to drive that, if you like, and go from there. So I think it was awesome. No more comments on there, Cam?
No, but it's pretty hard to take you seriously wearing those stupid glasses.
I knew you'd like, but Donna's watching, and any promotion I do for Pacing for Pink is good promotion, and it's to raise awareness for breast cancer.
No, it's good awareness.
Yeah, like I'll probably need to get you a pink bandana for that hat, that head of yours, but that's okay. Nothing? Hang on.
I can't swear on this, can I? Yeah. You're all right.
I actually don't mind all these things, I must say. Oh, I don't like that one so much. We don't need that one. What's this one? Oh, that one. Why didn't I find that one before? That's so much better, that one. I like.
There's the theme music for The Life of Paul Campbell.
Yep. That one's pretty tame. Oh. It has a lot of buttons, this thing, but I never remember how to use them. All that's for sure. Ricky May is method track. So Michael House. Right. Thank you, Cam. Let you go. Really, really appreciate your input, mate. And thank you very much for everything you do. And we do look forward to the weanling sales on May 25. Horses will be on they'll be on there on the Wednesday, but some will be there Tuesday and even maybe before.
Most are coming arrive from Tuesday onwards, you know.
Get in touch with the guys at Woodland Stud, Alabar, Makar Lodge and Tardina. To ask.
Actually, if anyone really wants to know, I think Macca's are due to arrive at Karaka on Sunday.
Yep.
So give them a day to get over it, but they'll be ready to go Tuesday.
Yep. Good as gold. So, yep, most of the horses, all the horses should be there and ready to go. All right, mate. We might do an on loose lines from over there. We'll just see. And hopefully we've stirred up a little bit of people getting involved. My pink jacket has been organised. Donna Castles wants me in a pink jacket. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. So, yep, she'll be right. She can keep they seem to think they can dress me up in anything.
You'll be able to give Cran a run for his money.
I reckon I do now. I think Cran's got scared. I think, he's scared all of a sudden, Cran. He's winding his shirts back a bit.
Scared of who?
I don't know. He's taming it up a bit. Rightio, enough. This is what On Loose Lines is. It's a show about nothing. Cam, thank you very, very much, mate, for joining me. Give us a bit of insight, as I said, the grass tracks and the weanling sales. Look forward to catching up with you very, very shortly, mate. Thank you.
All right, mate. Pleasure.
Rightio. I will hang up on the great man just then, as you can see. And I don't think I have too much else other than the success of the Pacing for Pink the other day. Got to say huge thank you to all of my sponsors as well. With they all make these shows possible. What else? Oh, if you want any of the Pacing for Pink clothing and apparel, go to joejubysaddlery.com.au. And you can go there. You'll be able to find this page here and be able to follow that to get all of your Pacing for Pink merchandise and everything else that you would like there as well. So they don't have pink jackets there, so I don't have to worry about them. The NZB website is .co.nz, so nzbstandardbred.co.nz to get involved with that. And then, as I said, thank you to all of my sponsors from Arasta Trotters going through. And, yeah, that's about a wrap for this week's show. As always, a little bit random. Malcolm Little would love to see an All-Stars race, the best senior, junior and female drivers going head-to-head. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. Like, I think a lot of the times we just seem to do one vintage, I suppose, within reason of saying that. But the elder statesmen or the junior drivers, we don't look after the present day drivers very often. But I think what Methan did though, Malcolm, when you were there, was pretty special. And I know one of the horses actually went around. Everything's just left me there at the minute. But Maurice McKendry won in Inky Lord's sulky that was set up for Ricky May. That was the sort of history and that was on these days. So yeah, it is a lot of fun. Rightio, I'm going to call it quits, but thank you very much to everyone who has contributed to the show and helped drive it. That's the only way Campbell's Cummins can continue to grow. We want to keep changing it up. We want to get some grass track racing to other tracks other than Yarra Glen. Nothing against Yarra Glen. What a picturesque place it is, but let's take it to the people. Let's go to the hills like on some of those picnic race meetings, yay and the likes. Who knows? Could take it anywhere. Get it back to Donald. I know Donald have got a beautiful track as well. So thank you to everyone who has contributed and got involved. Scotty Purden, thanks for saying thanks. Bit of random fun. Don't forget Pacing for Pink. Get behind it. Raising awareness for breast cancer, all for the month of May. Shannon O'Sullivan in New Zealand, to all my New Zealand friends. And I look forward to catching up with you guys very shortly when I'm next in New Zealand, which will be Tuesday week. So, yep, a little over 9 days. 11 days. 13 days there is in a month. 13. Timmy White, if you're still watching, there's that funny number, 13 and 4. But thank you very much to everyone who's got involved. Plenty of racing this weekend. You know where to find it. So I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching.